Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Damn good coffee and hot.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with the Dog. You make me laugh.
Oh, I don't make you laugh. You make me laugh. You. That's right. Make me laugh. Go ahead. Say something funny. I'm just going to enjoy the band. I'm just going to sit back and have some coffee and enjoy the band. Rocking out. Yeah. Oh, that's how you end the song. Good morning, folks. It is Wednesday, but it feels like a Monday. It's Wednesday, July 5th, 2023. The big, I don't know, 115-day holiday weekend. It felt like a long one. It's finally over on a Wednesday, and it feels like a Monday. I don't have a guest today because I knew it would feel like a Monday. And on Mondays, sometimes I just want to just recoup, bitch about my weekend, and not really just jump into interviews right away. Although looking forward to tomorrow with Katie Hannigan, who is one of my new favorites, and she will be here at 10:15 tomorrow. Time to kill. Before then, Robert will be with me. Today, we have another edition of Weirdful Wednesdays with Lori, as strikingly hilarious. And I'm just going to write out a short hour hanging with you. I want to talk a little bit about free speech and censorship and all that kind of stuff. It goes back to last week with the Roseanne Barr stuff. And Mike Binder, proprietor of Stand Up World. If you don't know Mike Binder, I keep saying Binder. I don't know why. Because I know a lot of people spell their name like his, and they call themselves Binder. He's Binder, like a binder full of women. Mike Binder, who is the proprietor of Stand Up World, a comedy blog. He's he's a comedian who I think probably thought he could retire from comedy, but you can never retire from comedy. It's like the mafia. You're out, but they pull you back in. You know what I mean? You can't really walk away from comedy. You can't really walk away from rock and roll. You just can't do it. You could try, but you just can't do it. Anyway, Mike Binder was late coming to the commentary on the Roseanne Barr Theo Von thing. And he was on Twitter and he said some stuff, and I disagreed with him, as I do. And I called him a lazy bastard. I think I hurt his feelings a little bit because he clearly did not watch the whole thing. He watched the clip and was making a judgment, and his judgment was that she was joking off of that one little piece, and the full context bears out the fact that no, she wasn't joking. She's fucking crazy. So I called him a lazy bastard and wrote him, and he asked for links. That's why I called him a lazy bastard. Well, let me see some links, because what I said to him specifically was that Roseanne Barr had a long history. This is what I said exactly, just so because he didn't mischaracterize it a little bit. I said Roseanne Barr has a long history of peddling conspiracy theories, including Holocaust denial. And then he came back and said, well, let me see some links about the Holocaust denial. So I sent him some stuff. In 2013, she was promoting a concert by a no bones about it Holocaust denier. And her defense of him was to say, he's not denying the Holocaust. He's just saying the Holocaust didn't happen. In other words, he was saying that the remains that were found there were not necessarily Jews. It could have been anybody. It was that Auschwitz was a POW camp, and the Allies made no effort to prove that the remains or the ashes of what they had left were Jews. So it's not wrong to say the Holocaust didn't happen. That's what she was saying. That is, to me, aligning yourself with a no bones about it Holocaust denier, and basically, putting yourself in the same boat. Now, I never said she was a consistent Holocaust denier. In fact, I said she's fucking nuts. She's inconsistent on all the conspiracy theories that she had. She's flip-flopped on many of them, including George Soros, who she defended at times and at other times called a Nazi. And there are tweets within 2 days where she's defending Soros working with the Nazis as a 14-year-old, and she's saying, I can't blame a 14-year-old for decisions you've made. Why am I defending George Soros? And this is why. And then 2 days later, she's calling him a Nazi and saying he's grooming Chelsea Clinton to be a Nazi. So she's clearly unstable. And you don't have to be a psychiatrist to spot nuts, craziness. You don't. There are some craziness is just overtly obvious. You don't have to be a professional to diagnose nuts. Batshit crazy. On the same day that the Theo Von thing came out, Roseanne came out with a piece that said Donald Trump is the first woman president. That's all I wanted to say. It wasn't a joke. She just came out and said, I just wanted to say that Donald Trump was the first woman president. And that was the sum total of her tweet, but it was a live video. She's crazy. That's what I said. So Mike took some umbrage with what I wrote, and he wrote up a second piece in Stand Up World. And let me see if I can do this. Can I present share screen? Stream nope. I can't do that. Come on. Oh, this thing doesn't let me do browsers in from. You know what? I am sick of this Firefox thing. I got to go back to using Chrome for this. I'm going to go entire screen, but it's going to get a little ugly here for a second. So hold on. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. Allow. Ooh, there you go. All right. I don't know if you can see this. I'm hiding that thing. So this is what he says. He goes, last week I wrote a piece about Roseanne not being a Holocaust denier on Theo's podcast. I stuck up for her saying she was being fastidious. I guess I was wrong. I received some serious blowback and was told to do some digging by people who apparently are a lot smarter than me. Now, this is all, being sarcastic. They claim to have evidence that she had been a Holocaust denier for years. Now, no. I did not say that. I said she'd been peddling conspiracy theories for years, including Holocaust denial, which with reams of receipts showing old Roseanne to be hating on Jews and even on blacks, and they made me feel like a simpleton. So I asked them to point me to some of these receipts because I had rushed to judgment and was too quick to defend Roseanne and Theo. One person who goes by the name Minddog on YouTube and Twitter, claims to be something of a Roseanne expert. Now, has anybody ever heard me say that I was a Roseanne expert? You can look at the trail of my conversation with Mike. Never once said I was an expert on Roseanne Barr. You don't have to be to remember all the batshit craziness that she's done. He called me a bastard and told me to look up her old tweets. I did do that. I told him to look up her old tweets from 2013. She was engaged in Holocaust denial. I didn't say that she's a consistent Holocaust denier. In fact, I said she flip-flops on everything. I said that several times to several different people. And then it goes on talking about other people. But so that's a totality of what he said about me, but it's totally mischaracterizing what I said. Now, that was kind of weird. I don't like doing this. I got to get um, I got to get back to the old browser where it's much more easy to share these things. So Mike Binder, Binder, said that about me, and I wrote back to him. I called him a bastard again. I said, "You're a lazy bastard," because that's not what I said, and you could have went and looked at the quote again and saw what I said and reread it and tried to understand it, but you don't. You just rush to write your article. And so I wrote to him and I said, I'm compelled to invite you on the program. This is a good faith offer for you to come on and we can discuss this. And I know nobody will fucking care about Roseanne and Theo Von. Nobody does. It's gone. The news cycle has eaten that up. It's over with. But we want to talk about the greatest stuff about censorship and free speech and comedy. I think it would be a worthwhile conversation. I said, I don't expect you to accept this offer, but I have to because you put this out there, and I feel like you mischaracterized what I said. I think I have to offer you a chance to come on and we can talk about it. I didn't expect him to do anything about it, but late last night he did get back to me. I haven't confirmed with him, but he said, "Well, I can't do it tomorrow morning." I'm not meaning now. I don't want you right now. But we will have him on next week, and we will talk about free speech. We will talk about censorship. We will talk about comedy and the state of comedy. If you don't know, Mike Binder produced, wrote, and directed the Comedy Store 10-hour special, 10-segment special for Showtime. Guy's got some juice. And I said to him in the letter, I said, I know a lot more about you than you know about me. Part of that is by design, and part of it is because I'm a nobody, and got all these connections and been part of the Comedy Store history. So we'll have him on next week. I look forward to that. And it will be in good faith. I'm not going to attack the guy, but you got to be honest. Yeah. I never said I was an expert in Roseanne. You don't have to be an expert in Roseanne to know that she's batshit crazy, and you don't have to do a whole lot of work other than watch the entire episode of that Theo Von thing to know that she was not joking. There was no sarcasm in there. The conversation, it's not important because nobody cares about it, and people should care about it because Holocaust denial is, and not to be taken lightly, and I don't think she's going to be peddling Holocaust denial as a mantra now. I think she might not even agree with it today with what she said, because that's how quickly she flip-flops sometimes, as with the Soros thing. But Theo definitely encouraged it by adding the anti-Semitic. Oh, but the Jews are, because when she said the Jews are responsible for all the fucking problems in the world, Theo's reaction was, yeah, because the Jews run Hollywood, right? I mean, they founded it, the Jews. He's too fucking stupid to understand this. But saying the Jews run Hollywood is anti-Semitism. To say there are many powerful Jewish men and some powerful Jewish women who are in very powerful positions in Hollywood and run some major studios, that's true. To say the Jews as if all the Jews got together and said, let's run Hollywood so we can manipulate the thought processes and behaviors of American people. That's what it means when you say the Jews run Hollywood. The Jews do not run Hollywood. A handful of Jewish people. It's like saying the Italians are the mafia, and I would take great umbrage with that. I have a dog in this fight, by the way. You don't say the Italians run the mafia. You say some a lot of, not just a handful, a lot of Italian immigrants were responsible for the Americanization of La Costa Nostra and the growth of it here. So I'm going to have Mike on and we're going to talk about this stuff. But there's no question that Theo Von I don't think he's an anti-Semite. He's just stupid and doesn't know the meaning of the words he says. And he doesn't even think about, well, yeah, the Jews run Hollywood. And she said, that's right. That's right. That's why they cause all the problems, and that's why they need to die. This is what she's saying. See, it wasn't sarcasm. She was saying, that's right. Just like the blacks run hip-hop. Now, the blacks don't run hip-hop. First of all, they don't like being called the blacks. African Americans don't run hip-hop. There are lots of independent African Americans who got involved in small independent labels. Some of them grew big, and some of those producers signed on with major labels to produce a lot of the mainstream hip hop that came out in the 90s and 2000s. But now, and even then, they weren't exclusive to that thing. And again, it's not like when you say the blacks run hip hop, it's the same thing as saying the Jews run Hollywood. No, I know lots of black people, African American people, who have nothing to do with hip hop. They didn't sponsor this. They didn't get. There wasn't a meeting of Jews and blacks and say, the Jews will take movies and films and television. Blacks, you guys can have hip hop, and like the black people all got together and said, "Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll so we can tell people about wet ass pussy." All of it, racism and anti-Semitism, all in that long dialogue. But you can't know that from just watching a clip. You can, if you just watch that clip, say, she was just being sarcastic. Now you're wrong because, you know, first of all, he didn't say sarcasm. He said it was a killer joke. Try using that as a joke. Go into some comedy club and just say, the Holocaust never happened. It should have happened because Jews caused all the problem of the world, and 6 million Jews need to die. Just go into a comedy club and say that. See how many laughs you get. Theo didn't laugh. Now, sarcasm is the lowest form of comedy. You can't say that this is Mike's argument was that it was next level highbrow comedy, and most of us didn't get it. It can't be sarcasm and next level highbrow. It can't be, by definition. Sarcasm is the lowest form of humor. So all of it doesn't make any sense. And now, I don't want to kind of just beat this dead horse over and over again. But Roseanne can be forgiven for being crazy. There's a lot of crazy people, but if you're a friend, if you're a fan, if you care about her at all, you're not doing her any favors by placating her mental illness. The people who love her, I know of some people who really sincerely care about her. They make no bones about saying she's batshit crazy. She needs help. And you don't have to be an expert in Roseanne because her life has been so fucking public. And every time she has one of these episodes, it is public stuff. You don't have to be an expert in that to know that she's batshit crazy. Now, Mike did go back to try to look at her old tweets, and she deleted everything before 2018. There are not the entire record of all that Holocaust stuff, Holocaust denial stuff, and Holocaust promotional, because she flip flopped, and for most of the time, she was in the camp of the Holocaust really did happen for most of that 10 years, but still conspiratorial in a lot of ways, but still agreeing that the Holocaust did happen most of that time. But she went back and deleted everything from when she opened her account in 2009, I think it was, up to 2018, deleted all of that stuff. And there was some pretty heavy stuff in it. But let me tell you something. The internet is not that forgiving, folks. People screenshot that shit. Um, and you will find remnants of it. If you really care, before you write an article, if you really care about this shit, you go and you do just a modicum of research, or just watch the entire episode that you're going to be commenting on. You don't watch just a clip and then think, I know better than everybody because I saw the clip. That's weak. That's lazy. I do think YouTube, because I've been a victim of this, of getting a strike on YouTube, getting content pulled down for people saying things on the program that was batshit crazy, and stuff that YouTube deemed as misinformation. All right. I disagreed with it because I did push back heavily and didn't let the audience, uh, even for a second, buy into the nonsense that Patricia Corey, I'm speaking of, was pushing. With the putting chips in the COVID, putting microchips in the COVID vaccine that's going to turn us into robots, is what she was was saying. And I pushed heavily back on that. And I thought YouTube was wrong for not looking at the whole context of where I said you're batshit crazy. You're claiming you're not a conspiracy theorist, and here you are with a conspiracy theory. She was talking about Bill Gates' patent and Bill Gates tried to take out a patent for COVID treatments, and the patent number was 000666. Look it up, man. It must be satanic. And I said, you know what? You're claiming you're not a conspiracy theory, and you're going to come on with that kind of bullshit. Get the fuck off my show. I did say that. You can go back and see. It's very clear that I pushed back on everything that she was saying. The remote sensor in your TV was a camera, and they're spying on you. All the crazy. I mean, one fucking loony conspiracy theory after another, and I pushed back on all of it. I got a strike. Still, and the strike is significant because you're banned for 7 days, and then if you get another one, you're banned for 14 days. If you get a third one, you lose your channel completely. So it's a significant thing, but I am still understanding and in agreement with YouTube's right to do that. Listen, it's a private company, and as much as I am for free speech is a governmental and policy thing. You don't want the government cracking down on free speech. But any private company does. If you're in a restaurant, let's say, do you have, or if you're an employee or a customer, do you have the right to go in a coffee shop and just start preaching to people? Get up on a podium and start saying whatever you want on their property? Or do they have the right to throw you the fuck out? That's the same thing. YouTube is just a business that you can choose to go in, and they can choose to say, get the fuck out of my house. And you can break it down to that. Your house. Would you let somebody come in your house and start saying shit that you don't want them to say in your house? Or would you say, get the fuck out of my house, shut the fuck up? That's not what free speech is. Free speech doesn't mean I can go into Ian's house and say whatever the fuck I want to say. Ian has the right to throw me the fuck out. So that whole idea that YouTube is censoring people. They're not censoring people. They're saying get the fuck out of my house with that nonsense, and they have every right to do that. And so I'll talk about this with Mike, and hopefully it will be a friendly conversation. Now, here's the thing that I've kind of gotten to my head. I am happy with being able to fly under the radar a little bit. We serve a very small niche community in creatives. You would think because there are like so many stand-up comedians and so many musicians, and it's not that big an audience. It's not like Joe Rogan's audience, which is everybody and anybody. Um, I don't appeal. This program would not appeal to them. It's for artists. It's for people who are creators. It's for people who are interested in the creative arts. But for the most part, my mission here was to help songwriters, help comedians, help filmmakers figure out their next step in business, in the business that they chose to be in. So it's a small niche, and I'm not necessarily comfortable with coming out from under the radar and being famous. Because that brings with it a whole fucking ball of wax that you don't really, and I'm not prepared for it, and nobody really thinks about before. I have thought about it because when I was young, I did want to be famous in rock and roll, no question about it. But dodged a bullet, well, by not having the talent to become famous, and I don't want to become famous for arguments I start on Twitter, but putting for somebody now, Binder thinks that he has no influence, or his influence doesn't matter, because he actually said in one of the correspondence that he thinks America will survive his gaslighting. Not necessarily, but he does have a lot of influence, and for him to put me in his newsletter now, that many thousands of people in the business will see. That could put some attention on me that I'm not really prepared for and I don't really want. But when it comes to influence, the question becomes, how big do you have to be before you have to start acting responsibly? In other words, his position is that it's okay for him to gaslight people because he doesn't have a big enough one. He's not Joe Rogan. Rogan has this 11 million people a day um, audience, and so that's huge influence. And Rogan doesn't take that doesn't act responsibly with that. He never thinks about how the audience is perceiving. For years and years, both Rogan doesn't like to admit this, but he's a right winger. Rogan on the right wing and Jon Stewart on the left wing have used this excuse that I'm just a comedian. I'm allowed to say whatever I want because I'm a comedian. No, you have tremendous influence. A lot of people make up their mindset, their opinions, form their opinions by the words of comedians. The court jester was a very powerful position. Court jester made fun of a lot of things in the courts. This is the heritage of comedians. But they held a lot of sway as far as public opinion, how people, perceived the world, the government, whatever that was, politics, all of that stuff. And you have to approach that with some sense of responsibility. You can't just willy-nilly, I'm going to say whatever I want, and it's not my responsibility how people take it, man. I'm just a comedian. No, once you become a serious voice that people listen to, and even though you don't think you're being serious, but let's face it, Rogan talks about a lot of serious stuff. He's not. I've never seen him being funny. I've never seen him being funny. And Jon Stewart. I mean, he used that same excuse with the Daily Show. I'm just a comedian, man. No, the entire left wing of politics in the United States took their lead from the Daily Show. Daily Show was very instrumental in forming the left wing ideology of the late 90s, early 2000s until, Stewart walked away from it. I'll be honest with you, I stopped watching television, of course, in 2008. And that's the last time I watched The Daily Show. So I don't even know who's hosting it now. I know Trevor Noah walked away from it, but I don't know that they're still that instrumental in the left wing ideology. But you can't hide behind, I'm just a comedian. If you're going to, whether you're right or left doesn't matter. Again, you have it on both sides of this I'm just a comedian nonsense. No, you're not just a comedian. You're a court jester, and you're bringing the power that comes with that position, whether you like it or not. You signed on for it. You have to be responsible for it. That's my position on it. Speaking of Rogan, I wanted to talk about, you know what? I'm going to take a commercial break, and then I'll come back. I have a clip from Rogan I want to play, and it's more information, and I'll talk about it when I come back. Right now, it's Koa Coffee time. Isn't it Koa Coffee time? Isn't it? It's Wednesday that feels like a Monday. There's no better time for Koa Coffee than a Wednesday that feels like a Monday. Have some Koa Coffee. This episode is brought to you by Koa Coffee. If you are a coffee connoisseur and want to experience the best coffee Hawaii has to offer, no blends, no compromise, try the true taste of aloha. Koa Coffee produces premium Hawaiian coffee, hand-picked, expertly roasted, and delivered from Hawaii to your door with aloha. From award-winning 100% Kona coffee grown on the slopes of the Mauna Loa volcano to the unique mocha beans of Maui, they strive to provide their loyal customers with the best quality and freshness. Since 1997, Koa Coffee has been known far and wide as a product of utmost quality, and their awards prove it. Koa Coffee was featured in Forbes' Top 10 Coffees of the World. This is the coffee Forbes called the best coffee in America. Find out what it's all about. Go to minddogtv.com/coffee. minddogtv.com/coffee. While you're there, check out the merch. There's a merch button up on the top there. Check out the new shirts, cups, all that kind of stuff. Get yourself a Mind Dog mug, will ya?
Coffee with a Dog is live streaming now.
It is. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. That's not good. Anyway, I do want to play the Rogan clip. But, what is this? I don't know what I'm looking at. Oh, I want to remove from stream here. Stop screen. Get that one out of here. Lori, as strikingly hilarious, is back with another piece. Play that now. This piece is on aging, which is a little bit sensitive topic for a guy like me. But I'm sure it's funny. And Lori continues to grow and improve every week, and I'm proud to support her in everything she does. Follow Lori on Facebook. She's got to get something more than that Facebook happen, and we need a webpage for her, something, or a link tree, something. But she's based in Arizona and starting a comedy career pretty late in life. But we are happy to support her and happy to have her as part of the program. Let's check out her.
Hello, this is Lori S. Strikingly Hilarious. Welcome to another episode of Weirderful Wednesdays. Can I just say I believe in aging, and I also believe in jokes about aging. So it's 2023, and I'm transitioning to my natural hair color. I got blonde highlights to go with my silver sparkles. And now I know blondes have more fun. I just can't remember why. I don't shave my underarms anymore. I think that's a European thing to do. I know it makes me feel very cosmopolitan. I have 3 hairs. I'm fond of them, so I've named them. Up here is Pierre, down here is Christophe, and in the middle, Bob. I know why Scarlett O'Hara was always fanning herself. She was in the deep South. They had no air conditioning, and Gone with the Wind. I went to get my yearly mammogram. You know, that's the one where they peel the skin off your chest, kind of like skinning a chicken and putting it in the machine and flattening it. I was thinking, I think that could help with wrinkles. The next thing I know, the mammogram tech is yelling at me, "Get your face out of the machine." Something that I've realized as a woman dating after the age of 50 is I just don't like beards. You know why I don't like beards? I have to pluck it before I go out. Thanks, that's all. Bye.
Gloria, strikingly hilarious, folks. Hope you enjoyed that. Let me get this out of here. I see some people in the chat rooms. Who's there now? Ian's there. Good morning, Ian. Hope you had a nice blow up America weekend. Robert, thanks for the recommendation on the Chris Cross stuff. Christopher Cross, Chris Cross. Interesting stuff. That stuff with Beato. I'll talk about that. We'll talk about that when Robert's on, I think tomorrow, right? I don't know what day it is. Billy Borge, thank you for being here. Hello, good morning. Ian is saying she's strikingly hilarious. I'm not calling her funny. That's just her name. You know, okay. I caught the Dustin Sway. Well, he has a stand-ups. I don't know, episode stand-ups on Netflix, the stand-ups, Dustin Sway. And he does a lot of that, you know, reaffirming. There is some marketing strategy to that, you know, naming, and speaking of Lori's name, strikingly hilarious. You put that out there as a, I don't know, a clue to people who to put the idea in their head. Dustin Sway does a lot of this. We're having a good time. He keeps on saying that. We're having a good time. You know, whether you are or not, the more he says it, the more you start to believe it type of thing. I don't know. There's a whole marketing philosophy to that, which is a cool thing. So I enjoyed the Dustin Sway stuff. Now, the Rogan thing. I got to talk about this because, listen, if Joe Rogan says something, and you say, and you're inclined to think, well, I wonder if that's true. Fact check it, because 99% of the time you fact check it and you find out Rogan is wrong. Rogan is wrong. Joe Wrong should be his name. He's wrong every day about something. And you might say, well, he's just a comedian. But again, he's influencing a lot of people. And this latest one I caught last night, it was him and Segura talking about outrage, you know, outrage overload. Just, you know, and social media and societal things that we just get hung up on. And they were talking about Pride Week, Pride Month, whatever it is, and the Bud Light thing, and all that, you know, and how many things are you supposed to get just involve yourself with? And Segura is saying, you know, there's no way you can get involved in any of this stuff or care about it. I'm just a spectator. And Rogan went on to say this. I'm going to just play the clip and then I'll comment on it. It's just a really short clip. I don't even think it's a minute long. Here it is.
If you're a conspiracy theorist,
yeah,
this is the real conspiracy. The conspiracy is have as many social problems as possible
To
that
distract.
people get distracted by, that people concentrate on, whether it's a pandemic, whether it's masks, vaccines, pride, trans movement, sponsor drag shows for kids if you want people to get mad and want people to get distracted.
Right.
Sponsor
Let them
that.
focus on that.
Get
Yeah.
people to think that it's a good idea to do that and watch the outrage. Get people to think that the ocean's going to be boiling in 5 years.
Right.
Get people to think that if we don't change it, like that was one of the things that Greta Thunberg said 5 years ago, that we'll all be dead.
In 5 years?
Well, it's 5 years later, and we're not all dead. So you definitely were wrong, and you're 16.
Now, I'll get into the conspiracy thing in a moment. Greta Thunberg, 5 years ago, was a high school student. Okay, she was never an environmental scientist or climatologist or any of this kind of stuff, and she didn't say what Joe Rogan just said. She said, you know where he got that from? He got that from Charlie Kirk and Tim Pool and a bunch of other people who were spreading that lie. Now, I'm not here to convince you if you can't be convinced, or if you've made up your mind about this stuff, that climate change is real. It is definitely real, and you're free to disagree with that. But Greta Thunberg never said that we'd all be dead in 5 years. But Rogan is passing that along. He got that from the internet and didn't bother to fact check it, and then puts it out to 11 million people. The purpose that was spread in the first place was to convince people that people who were talking about climate change are all wrong, and no, that's irresponsible to lie about it. Now, if you wanna say that everybody's wrong, you really should know the real facts of the conversation. The conversation went like this. Charlie Kirk and Tim Pool both had screenshots from 5 years ago where Greta Thunberg linked to an article by a Harvard professor by the name of James Anderson. James Anderson was a scientist and somebody who studies climate. And what he said was, and now the article was on a show, a website that is no longer in existence. So that's part of the problem too. You can't go back and check. But he said top client. The link said top climate scientists. Humans will go extinct if we don't fix climate change by 2023. Didn't say we'd all be dead by 2023. What he said in the article was that we had 5 years to stop using fossil fuels, or the damage we will have done to the polar ice caps will be irreversible. And we can't know if that prediction has come true for many, many years, probably decades, whether we have the power to, and I don't think we ever had the power, or more just my opinion, I don't think mankind has the power to repair that stuff. Now, you could cite the ozone stuff and say, well, look, that problem fixed itself, didn't it? Yeah. But this one seems to be a big one. But he didn't say the what Rogan said there, that the oceans would be boiling by 2023 and we'd all be dead. That was never said. It was said that we need to stop using fossil fuels by 2023, or we will do so much damage that we will never be able to fix the problem. That's what was said. Rogan spun it because he didn't, and not like he's doing this maliciously. This is what he was fed on an internet meme, and he ran with it as if he knew the facts. That's lazy, and it's irresponsible. It's completely irresponsible to not even look at the article that was being mentioned, and holding a high school girl responsible for making a prediction which he never made in the first place. But as if we were, the whole climate change thing is based on a high school girl's comments. That's total bullshit, man. I don't think you have to be all that observationally in tune with the planet to realize climate change is real. Now, the debate should be: can we do anything about it? Is mankind the real, honest cause of all of it, or not? And can we do anything to reverse it? That should be the debate, not whether it's happening. You know what? When I was just 60 years ago, when I was a small child, uh, in where I live, the waters would freeze over so hard that you could drive a truck on the Atlantic Ocean. It would be frozen 6, 7 feet thick. We don't get any ice, not a speck of ice, not a cube of ice in the last 30 years. That is indication that the climate has changed. Whether we are responsible for it or not, you can debate that. That is a scientific debate, and that's not one that I have the credentials to debate. But obviously, we're having more wildfires than ever. Where things are changing. That's what climate change is. Now you can debate the cause, and you can debate whether or not we have the power to rectify it. But you can't just dismiss what you see and hear with your own two eyes. I'm getting sick of the whole gaslight. Don't believe your eyes and ears. Believe what we tell you. Stuff. So this was James Anderson who wrote this article. He is a climate. Now that prediction could come out to be completely wrong, but we can't know that for at least 10 or 20 years now. When we see if it continues to get worse, and we try to do things to repair damage that we've done or think we have done, and it doesn't work, then we know he's right. Or if we can reverse it and somehow we know he was wrong. That's how you tell that was wrong. But for Rogan to pass that along, and now he starts with, if you're a conspiracy theorist. Like, he's so afraid to admit what he is. Is there any doubt that Joe Rogan is a conspiracy theorist? And he knew the conspiracy theory because this is what he loved. Conspiracy theories are his main source of erection. He hears about a conspiracy theory. He does it that much of I want to see what the theory is. Now, he talked about Pride Month being a conspiracy, as if the powers and he talked about all the social things that we argue about as being conspiracy, as if there's some greater controlling body, whether you call it the Illuminati or whatever you want to put on these people, the Rothschilds, whatever, the Bilderberg Group, whoever you're attributing to this, and they never will name names. Who's the people behind this who are saying, here's what we're going to do. We're going to give them Pride Month. That'll really drive them crazy. And then we'll just give them all these kinds of things to argue about. Bud Light, let's make that. Drag shows. Some conspiratorial board that runs the world is getting together and saying, let's give them drag shows for kids. That'll really fuck things up so they can't pay attention to what we're really doing here. Do you see how batshit crazy conspiracy theories are? That some people believe there's a group, an unknown group of human beings getting together and plotting this stuff. It's not just, and like drag shows are something new. Drag shows have been around for millennia, not just decades, not just, centuries, millennia. Drag shows have been part of the human experience since clothing was invented. It's not like this conspiratorial board just got together and said, let's make drag shows for kids. Throw that in the mix of things, BLM and Pride Month and everything we can get people to argue about. No, it's just humans beings on an individual level caring about what matters to them, their issues. It's not some great conspiracy, but Joe wants to make everything a great conspiracy, and that's the kind of thing that attracts him. But again, we come back to responsibility. That's just one more example of taking your 11 million followers extremely lightly and not caring about what the result of that is. Now, obviously, Charlie Kirk and Tim Pool did that to ridicule, again, a high school girl. She's out of high school now. She's a young adult. But they're trying to make it as if she is the leading voice of climate change activism. She was a child trying to get people to pay attention to what scientists were saying. The broad majority, the almost complete, exclusive, uh, totalitarian, totality is the word of all scientific research says that climate change is real. Again, that should not be the debate. The debate should be, what can we do about it? Are we responsible for it? What specifically is responsible for it? Is it really car emissions and things like that? Could be. We don't, I'm not in a position to talk about that from, some kind of, you know, um, scientific standpoint. I don't know enough about that. I know the world's climate has changed in my lifetime. I don't know that we can do anything about it. I'm of the opinion, and this is just an opinion, that we can't. It's probably way beyond the scope of what we can do, unless somebody comes up with some really magical new technology that makes AI look like child's play. I don't think we're going to solve the problem. We might adapt to it. One thing I know that human beings have adaptability across all kinds of circumstances. We live through ice ages. We live through, floods. We find a way to survive and adapt to these things. Whether we can adapt to, summers that are 150 degrees or something in the future. But listen, I've been in Vegas when it was 120. We stayed indoors in the air conditioning, and so I'm not sure it will be the end of humanity. And the way Rogan tried to phrase that, it was as if the claim was meant that we'd all be dead by 2023. Look, you're wrong. See, they're all wrong. Climate change isn't happening. That was the agenda there. And to fall back, well, I'm just a comedian, man. I don't have to be responsible for the words I say because I'm just a comedian. Was there anything funny in that? Was he doing a comedy act, or was he making commentary, political commentary? I say it was the latter. He was making political commentary and hiding behind the shield of I'm just a comedian. And I'm not just picking on Rogan here. It's just the most influential one of the group. But that kind of shit drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. We live in a world, and aren't you fucking tired of it yet? How I think I'm the only one, maybe I'm the only one who just is sick of being gaslit, of being told, don't believe your ears and eyes, believe what we're telling you. And everybody, and this is what Binder did. I know you heard what you heard, but that's not what you heard. That's not what it was. I know what it was because I know better. But you didn't do your homework, so how do you know better? I'm sorry. Court jester, bottom line, has influence, has power, and needs to get some responsibility. I'm not saying you can't joke about anything. You can joke about anything you want. If it's clearly a joke, we can all lighten up about it and just enjoy the humor in it. But find the joke in what Rogan said. Find the joke in what Roseanne Barr said. Find the joke in what Theo Van. There's no fucking joke there, folks. Nothing. And if you're in comedy, you know that. And even if you're not in comedy, you know that there was nothing worth laughing at. All right, I'll stop ranting for a second. Great weekend this weekend, even though I'm exhausted. Yeah, weekend. I had a Monday show that we did have a Monday show. I keep forgetting about that. But in between, I 6 gigs in 4 days. Whew, man, it's a lot. And I'm right back at it day after tomorrow. But last night was really fun, and I was exhausted. I didn't want to go to the gig. It was at the on the river at a place called the Ore, which is the Patchogue River, and there was a flood watch, and the waters were pretty high, and it was extremely humid. And it's 4th of July, and as I'm driving there, all the businesses are closed, and I'm like, nobody's gonna be at this fucking place. It's fucking 4th of July. They were all barbecues. They're probably wiped out from 5 days of partying because it started, Friday afternoon for a lot of them. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. They're wiped out. Then nobody's coming out. And to my surprise, place was packed. And very, very supportive crowd, very fun crowd. And interacting with the band. And it wasn't a band, it was just me and Mikey doing a duo thing. But it was one of the more fun gigs that so far of this summer, and really loved it. And that kind of stuff, um, it makes it all worthwhile. But man, my voice is gone. I mean, I was laughing last night, uh, singing harmony with Mikey on some of the songs that we sing, and I'm trying to do the high parts, and I hear the cracking in the voice. It's kind of covered up when you're doing harmony, slight cracks here and there. But man, every time I tried to reach for a note over like 3G, G3, uh, I could feel it. Like what happens is you go to sing the note and nothing comes out. Nothing. It's like, wait, I know I'm pushing. I know there's air coming through here. Why is no sound? I'm getting no vibration through the vocal cords. But the vocal cords are very swollen. They're beaten up. And the high end, especially when you have to push a little harder. So what you have to do is kind of talk yourself into really belting it and just kind of, you're going to pay the price. You know that if you do this, you're going to do more damage, but you're on a gig and you can't afford to let people down. You can't just be terrible. Although I have in the past. Anyway, uh, what is this? Tom Segura is like, oh, she said all that really funny. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Segura, you know what? I'm not a big fan of Tom Segura personally. I do like his comedy, but I do agree with him 100%. Is like, you know what? You can't invest yourself in all of it. You can't really care about all this shit. The bigger issues are worth caring about. The bigger issue of gaslighting, constantly trying to make excuses to make your point, and telling people, making like ridiculous excuses where people should know, but like as if I told were to try to tell you, I'm not bald. Don't believe you're. I have great hair. I have Hollywood GQ hair. I'm going to tell you that. And you'd be like, what the fuck, man? You're a bald fucker. Don't tell me. And no, you don't believe your eyes, man. There is a beautiful head of hair. You're just not seeing it because you're not smart enough. You're not in tune. You're not paying attention to the reality. The reality is I'm fucking beautiful. I'm gorgeous. I'm GQ cover guy. And if you don't see that, you're an idiot. You mean I go, what the fuck is with this guy? He's out of his fucking mind. And we're getting that every day on every single issue from people. And that's the bigger issue. That's what has me outraged. It's like, stop bullshitting me about every fucking thing that comes down the pike. I'm just tired of people telling me that, you know, day is night and night is day. Don't believe your ears and eyes. Don't believe anything unless I tell you. Like, who made you the fucking authority on reality? I think most of us can see for ourselves when we see things with our own two eyes. But a big part of the problem is, even if we see things with our own two eyes or hear things with our own two ears, we still run back to cable news to get the take on how we should feel about it because we're too fucking lazy. Too fucking lazy to think for ourselves. And we can't, this whole idea of independent thinking, we can't blame that on the media. And I was at this party this weekend with a bunch of very rich Republican Trump supporters. And one guy who I've known for a long time said to me what he loved about Trump was Trump opened his eyes to the fact that the media lied to us. Really, how old are you? Because I think you're my age. You're in your 60s, and you didn't know about op-ed versus fact reporting until Trump came along. Shame on you. This is not the media's fault. This is your fault because you're too lazy to fucking think for yourself. You can't blame the media that you can't tell the difference between op-ed and fact reporting. Now, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, Newsmax, whatever, all of them will start with some basic fact. And you can tell where the fact ends and the op-ed begins on all of them. And if you're not smart enough to know what bias you're going to get and what kind of op-ed you're going to get and what kind of spin you're going to get on those particular channels, shame on you, not shame on them. It's not like they're hiding it. Fox News all call themselves fair and balanced, but they never, ever hid the fact that they were right-wing Republican outlet. CNN call themselves the most trusted news, whatever they call themselves. But they never hid the fact that they were basically left center. MSNBC never tried to hide the fact that they were very left wing. I don't think Newsmax, I don't know this for a fact, but I don't think they don't seem, in the clips I've seen, they don't seem to be trying to hide the fact that they are extreme right wing. None of these organizations are hiding their bias. And if you don't know what it is and you can't tell when op-ed starts and facts stop, it's not their fault. It's your fault. You can't be that stupid to say Donald Trump was the first one who clued you in your lifetime. You're 60 years old or more, and you didn't know. If you're my age, you grew up in the era of Vietnam. You did not know that John F. Kennedy, when he said there were no troops on the ground, no American troops on the ground in Vietnam, you don't know that was a lie. I mean, this is you don't know about the assassination and the fact that they're still not releasing the full documentation, that we haven't been told the whole truth. You need Donald Trump to open your eyes to that. This is not Joe Biden's fault that you're that stupid. I'm sorry. And, this is not anybody's fault but your own. This is not CNN's fault. This is not MSNBC's fault. This is not Fox News' fault. This is not Newsmax's fault. It's your fault for being a lazy son of a bitch who's too lazy to fucking think for yourself or actually pay attention to what you're being read off a teleprompter. I know I'm preaching. I'm on a soapbox. I don't mean to do this. I just got a lot to get off my chest. So, because, overwhelmingly, I wrote a piece on Substack this week about my experience being surrounded by hardcore Trump supporters who were very wealthy Republicans. And none of them have a full grasp. I'm not bashing all Republicans here. I'm talking about these people who are millionaires and multi-billionaires, and some of them close to billionaire. None of them care about any of the issues. They care about team and my team winning, and they don't think for themselves. Because when they were complaining about the guy who's in power now, and he's not in power. President is got less power than we like to think, and that was part of Trump's frustration. Is he found out pretty quickly that president can't just do whatever he wants. But so a lot of the people there, they were complaining about Biden. I said, what specifically, cause and effect, are you upset about? What policies? They don't even know any fucking policies. They don't know anything he's done. Oh, the border. What do you do about the border? What's his policy on the border? I don't know. No, you don't know. You just complain about the economy. Oh, the economy. You're complaining about the economy. We're at a $20 million house. Excuse me. Throwing a party that must have cost $25,000 easy. And we're drinking martinis and having shrimp toast and abundance of food. We're at this mansion, and you just bought a new car you're never going to drive, a new muscle car to put in your garage. You're never going to drive it. You just paid $100,000 for that, and you're complaining about the economy. What exactly about the economy is not working for you? You're aware that we have the lowest unemployment since the 1950s in this country. Jobs are. What are you complaining about? Not a fucking clue. All we know is Sleepy Joe, and you don't know where he is. Well, yeah, that I agree with that. He is definitely, and I know a few people on the Democrat side who've actually argued with me on that. That that's all just overblown. No, I don't think, and it is kind of important to have a leader who knows who you could trust with the television remote. And I wouldn't trust Biden with the TV remote. That's how far gone. Grandpa needs his depends changed, but so is Trump. Don't get me wrong. All these fucking old cats. They need to just they need to be fed Jello, getting in their home and watch Judge Wapner and chill out. They shouldn't be running the country. I agree with that. So if that's your complaint that Biden doesn't know where he is, I agree with that. But policy wise, what's your problem with them? Or Ukraine, funding them. So you'd rather just let Russia just take it over? It's bizarre. They don't even bother doing any of that kind of thought about the policies, and that kind of it comes back to this whole idea of free thinking, and you can't blame the media for your lack of work and investing in your own free thinking. Oh, the media lied to us. Yeah, they don't really lie. You know what? Lie. Yes, they spin stuff to the point of fabrication a lot of times. I think most of the time, Newsmax, Fox News, CNN, NBC, they believe in what they're telling you. They believe, just like Mike Binder believes, that they know. They know. Sometimes they don't do all their work. But if you're trusting them to tell you what they think they know, not shame on them. It's shame on you. If it took you your whole life to figure out that you need to fact check things, like I did with Rogan, when that thing came up, when he said, "Oh, Greta Thunberg said we'd all be dead in 5 years," I said, well, that doesn't ring true. I don't remember her saying that. That would have registered somewhere that somebody said, that Edward, I can't think of the guy's name now, the pastor who kept calling for the rapture to happen. I knew the date, and I would check it, and if it didn't come to pass, I would know that guy was wrong and make fun of him. If somebody, even a kid in high school who was getting enough attention, said we'd all be dead by 2023, I would have been waiting on December 31st, 2022, for that clock to change to say, see, you were wrong. They were all wrong. It'd be doomsday. But I didn't remember anybody saying we'd all be dead by 2023. And the minute Rogan said that, flag went up. Uh-oh. I think Joe's lying to me. How long did it take me to fact check that? 30 seconds, tops. 30 seconds to find, yeah, no, he's just making shit up. And he didn't make shit up. He passed along something that Charlie Kirk and Tim Pool and other people in that arena had made up. Same thing, just passing along lies. And it only took me 30 seconds to figure that out, to go and say, what's the real story here? And so that's what I hope everybody will do. And I'm going to call it a day here and go, because I have, again, I'm really excited about, well, first of all, let me tell you about Sticks and Stones. There's no show at Sticks and Stones this weekend. Great grand opening weekend last weekend. They did very well. Club was packed. But they're not following up with another week. Now, Abby, obviously, it's her business. She knows how to run it. She knows far more about the comedy business than I do. But I would not let that slide. I would continue to build momentum, not have a week off now. The next show, let me look at Sticks and Stones. Hold on, I got it pulled up here. Next show is where is this? Eddie Brill on July 18th. That's the next show there. There is a comedy workshop with Eddie Brill on July 17th, which I'm going to be attending, by the way. And then Eddie Pepitone and JT Habersat will be there on August 8th. So there's like 2 weeks in between shows all the time. I'm not criticizing Abby. This is her business. She knows comedy far better than I ever would. I would be really nervous that you start to build momentum. You don't just stop. That's how I would feel about it. So I'm a little upset that there's no show this weekend, because I would have probably been able to make one, with these fucking gig schedules changing all the time. But I really, I don't know, I'm kind of disappointed. But anyway, we will start promoting the Eddie Brill thing on July 18th. We'll start that next Monday. And JT and Eddie Pepitone are going to be doing some pieces for me, some short videos that we'll be playing to promote their gig in August. Donna Shannon has delivered many episodes, several episodes of slightly irrelevant reviews that I need to edit and put together. Vinny Vanilli, our friend from north of the border, was in New York City this weekend, filming some spots for the show. He delivered a slew of video that, again, I need to edit for inclusion. I think we'll have Robert tomorrow. I'm looking forward to Katie Hannigan. I'm really excited about that tomorrow at 10:15. I hope you join me for that. And again, Robert tomorrow. I'll probably have the Donna Shannon piece ready for tomorrow. And the first hour, I'll just be like continuing to be a grumpy old man, ranting and saying whatever I want. Eddie Pepitone and JT Habersat is a good show. I saw them in Denver. Ian's all over the place. He's all over the map. He's a world traveler. Anyway. Yeah, I know JT. You know what? I've never seen Eddie Pepitone live. I've seen him in films. I've seen I've seen some comedy specials and things like that. I've never seen him live. But hopefully on August 8th, I will get to see him live. I'll get to actually meet him backstage and all that kind of stuff. But in the meantime, he will be doing some short videos to help promote the gig, and we'll be talking to them. You know what? JT was willing to get Eddie on him, and the two of them come on together to promote the thing. But I'm like, sometimes the interviews are not that effective in driving traffic to the actual event. Sometimes it's better. Sometimes it is better to just send these little promotional clips for the stuff, and they'll probably be more effective. So, anyway, Carl, good morning, Carl. Before I say goodbye here, Carl saying go smoke a J. Here's slightly. It wasn't funny at the time. I was sitting out in the backyard 2 days ago, smoking a joint, and a deer was just looking at me. Came up and I said, "Hey, yeah, hey, deer, what's happening?" He was looking for some food, and I'm smoking a joint, and I kind of just went to like offer my head of the joint, and he took the joint and he ate it on fire, and he wanted another one. I was like, "That's a $20 joint you just ate, you fucking deer. No, you're not getting another one." But he ate it on fire like it was nothing. And I didn't see that deer yesterday. I think he's probably still high. It's some of the best weed that I've had in a long, long, long time. And this deer just gobbled it. He took it from my hand quicker than I could say, "Hey, don't take that," and just gobbled it down. So the deer got high. So no, I'm conserving my weed right now. I'm getting, you know what? I'm getting a call from Theo Von's sponsors right now. Forget the name of it, Martin and Martin or something like that. Law firm that sponsors Theo Von, who I had called last week and said, "I just want a statement. Are you down with this shit or not? You're sponsoring the program? Do you support this idea that the Holocaust never happened? I just want to get your take on it." And they sent me a couple of emails saying that they were dropping Theo Von as a sponsor, but now they want to talk to me. I'm not interested in a long conversation. I just wanted to get a statement. Do you support that kind of stuff? Because if you're gonna sponsor that kind of shit, I will say all sorts of like crazy shit for the money. Send me some money, man. If you want just outrageous shit, I'll just say, Michelle Obama was a guy. Uh, can I can I have the money? What? But so that's that. Anyway, that's the show for today. I'm gonna take Carl's advice, but it's gonna be a very skinny one because I'm trying to conserve because the deer ate my fucking big fatty. Anyway. I'm gonna tell you what you should do, and that is turn on the radio. Hey, Carl, you should come on the show more. I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks here. I wanted to talk about some author who's a mom. By the way, I just want to say to Carl, if you ever talk about my mother again, I will block you, and that's a promise. Man, that's a fucking. I have an idea that I know who you were talking to, or who was talking to you, and that because I'm blocked, so I couldn't actually see. But I saw the screenshot where somebody threatening to block somebody on social media. It's the biggest pussy thing that anybody could ever do. If you keep that up, I'm going to block you, man. Really? Really? What kind of fucking pussy are you? Just block me. Oh, it wasn't Dead Eyes. Wow. Okay. I thought I would assume it would have been, but okay. Well, you have no right to talk about anybody's mother, even if she's a whore and a dirty skank and really stanky hole. I don't even know whose mother it is. I hope it's not Jamie's mother. She's a fine woman. I just want to say that Jamie's mother is a fine woman. I don't know, never met her, but she's a fine woman. I don't know why I even said that. But I was going to say turn on your radio, but then I wanted to ask Carl about that. But Carl, you should come on the show. I want to talk to you again. So one of these days, come on back. Don't be a stranger. I haven't talked to you in a month. Anyway, turn on your radio, and I'll see you tomorrow.